Alright, welcome back everybody to yet another Culz Top 10. This time we're going to be counting down my favorite cryptids. Now, this does not necessarily mean these are the top 10 I think are real, but just the top 10 that I really enjoy or have fond memories, especially growing up when cryptids really kind of got big in the 90s. So a quick honorable mention is going to be the orang pendek, who did not make the list. I was debating between it and another one, which actually kind of made it further up the list than I thought it would have. But just not enough connection there, so just an honorable mention for now. Alright, so number 10 is the Kasai Rex. Now, I will be touching upon this later down the line in a Culz Fun Fact episode, but kind of the short story is it's supposed to be what the name suggests, a Tyrannosaurus Rex that lives in the Kasai Valley. Now, it's kind of strange because Tyrannosaurus is not known from Africa, it's North America. So if it was a Carcharodontosaurus, it would make more sense, and I could see how people might be confused because they're sort of similar. Or a Spinosaurus, because it is kind of talked about as an aquatic creature. Now this one, 100% without a doubt, is a hoax. And the short story of that is they just cut out some pictures. Back in the day, I guess Photoshop, a lot easier than today. Or at least people weren't as caught on to it as they are today. They cut out pictures of the model of the Allosaurus from the American Museum of Natural History, as well as a Nile monitor lizard, and just put it on top of a dead rhinoceros. And so this started the story. So clearly not real, but still one that, as a kid, I was like, that'd be cool if that was. Alright, so number 9 might piss off some of you, or some of you might say, why is it so low? And I guess it depends what part of the country you lived in. But growing up in Colorado or anywhere in the western states, be it like Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, you've probably heard of this one, and that one is the jackalope. Now, the jackalope is, as its name suggests, a jackrabbit. But what makes it kind of interesting is it sprouts some antlers. And it also is known to sing around, if cowboys are out, on the range watching their cattle, and they built this campfire, it'll sit out there with them and sing. Now, as a kid, I guess it didn't seem too fantastical. Nowadays, you're just like, would a rabbit do that? Probably not. But growing up out here, we used to have some restaurants, some western stores, and just different places called the jackalope, lots of postcards, and if you go up to Douglas, Wyoming, you can see the largest jackalope. So at some point we'll check that out, why not? Alright, so number 8 is the one I was debating between it and the orang pendek because, I don't know, they're both kind of new as far as their mass appeal, and especially reaching me, but the Beast of Bray Road reached high rates of popularity thanks to a picture recently that showed either a wolf or a large husky walking on its back legs, and it looked like it had skeleton front legs. Now, I'm not saying I believe that thing's out there, but I could see how some wolves have come back into this area where people just don't see wolves anymore, and it could cause some concern. But the Bray Road is not very big, and people see something a lot. I know there's been people who have gone and got evidence of some large animal. So it's possible it could be out there. Alright, so number 7 is the Cavern, the Chupacabra. And this one definitely holds some fond memories, and I'm not talking about that time it fought Eric Estrada in that movie, though we will have to talk about that because it's one of those so bad it's funny movies. But yeah, it's an inside joke with the group, and it's always kind of been interesting, especially to see its evolution in the public zeitgeist, and that's because early on, you see it as this green reptilioid standing on 2 legs, big eyes, spikes, very similar to Species, probably because the first person to report it had actually just seen Species. So it kind of makes some sense, and then you see it evolve into more of a canine, and then into hairless dogs, possibly coyotes with mange, and people always talk about, well, it sucked the blood out, but when people have actually done some dissections of these so-called sucked out creatures, they found out, no, they have internal injuries, their necks were broke. The blood's still in there, but when you die, it clots and it doesn't. Alright, so number 6 is one that you guys should be familiar with if you've kept up with our channel, or at least Culz Fun Facts, and this is the Mokele Mbembe. Now this is a large sauropod, or I should say large animal, small sauropod. In sauropod terms, it's not very big. It's 40 to 50 feet long. But as far as modern day animals, it'd be the largest thing alive. It is said to obviously be a brontosaurus, apatosaurus type of creature that likes water, eats certain trees that even elephants can't get to, but is almost aggressive in a way where it'll attack boats, and even hippos are scared of this creature. Why this one makes it up to number 6 is probably because there was the movie Baby Secret of the Lost Legend, which is about this cryptid. The effects definitely don't hold up very well, and we'll talk about it at some point, but it's one of those childhood memories. The nostalgia kicks back in, and all of a sudden you're number 6 on a top 10 list. Number 5. And get into number 5, this one is another one we've talked about once before thanks to Project Blue Book, but also we've been working on a Culz Fun Fact episode. This one is the Flatwoods Monster. I think its design is really cool. It's very unique. It has like big claws, like a metal dress, like a red oval head. Now, I think it's a barn owl. We'll get to that later in another video, but just the overall design and uniqueness and the amount of time I've put into this is why it's number 5. I mean, it's so unique. You don't see a lot of other creatures like it. Now, number 4 is going to be Andrew's most believable cryptid, the skunk ape. Now, I know he's looked over the video, and he did not put any anti-skunk apes in his Bigfoot suit video, so that right there tells you he believes it's true.
It's a guy in a suit.
But the skunk ape, for me, is just one I remember watching on Unsolved Mysteries when I was a kid. Obviously, we've talked about the Dave Shealy film, which they showed on Unsolved Mysteries. And so it's always kind of held that nostalgic memory for me. And, I mean, so far out of any of these, it seems the most reasonable, because why couldn't a primate live in the Everglades? So, hey, nostalgia is a powerful drug. Alright, so number 3 on the list is probably actually the most realistic, and it is the Beast of Exmoor. And for those of you who don't know what the Beast of Exmoor is
a guy in a suit.
It's not a guy in a suit. The Beast of Exmoor is a legend of a Black Panther that was living somewhere in the Exmoor region in the 80s. Now, why this one might be more realistic, well, I don't think there's any still alive today. At least we would have more proof if there was. But back in the 80s, there was some laws passed, so there was some accounts of people releasing some of these big cats into the wild. Obviously, black jaguars or leopards are not native to, England. But for me growing up, again, this is one that I read in a book. I'm a huge fan of nature, and there was some big cat books. When you kind of get to the myths or legends section, we talk about Beasts of Exmoor, you dig more into that, you see shows. And there's some very grainy, shaky, Bigfoot-esque video of some, or there's some black cat pictures. The hard part with these is there's not really good things to judge size on, so it's hard to say how big they are. I mean, a cat's a cat. I mean, a cat with no size judgment, you could think it looks like a big cat, especially if it's jet black and green grass. Like, how are you to tell? Alright, so number 2 on the list is one of my favorite, but also one of the ones I definitely do not believe exists in the form that we think of it, and that is Nessie. I mean, the Loch Ness Monster is one of those quintessential paranormal topics. When you tell people paranormal, they think of ghosts, Bigfoot, UFO, the Loch Ness Monster, possibly the Jersey Devil. So, I mean, it's hard not to know what Nessie was. It's influenced so much. There's been countless movies. There's been some actually pretty good books about Nessie. But I don't think it's a plesiosaur. And I know that might upset some of you guys. You take it back!
It's a guy in a plesio suit.
Andrew thinks everything's a suit. Maybe a submarine. Obviously, it gained popularity thanks to not only the countless historical documentations of something, a water horse, not a plesiosaur, but something in the but in the 1930s because of the surgeon's Loch Ness photo. And at some point we're actually going to recreate that, kind of tell you the whole story of how they did that photo and how people were able to tell, hey, that's not a 6 foot tall thing, that's something maybe a couple inches tall. But to me, it doesn't mean there's something not out there. Obviously, this has been documented for a long time. And is it a sturgeon? Is it a Greenland shark? Could it be some unknown giant eel? I mean, who knows? I think something's out there, just not a plesiosaur. And that brings us to number one, the granddaddy of them all, Andrew's favorite paranormal creature as well. Like, don't listen to whatever he puts. He talks so much about this creature. It's got to be his favorite, and that is number one.
The guy in the suit.
I tried not to laugh. And that is Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. I'm not counting the Yeti or the Yowie. I do see those as separate creatures, much like the skunk ape. Again, this one seems a little bit more plausible than the other ones on the list. I mean, a giant ape, not too fantastical, right? It's not a plesiosaur swimming in Loch Ness for some reason. It's not a two-legged wolf without arms. But just to imagine that something is still out there, I mean, it was fascinating. As a child, this one, I mean, you saw it everywhere. There was books. People talked about the Patterson-Gimlin footage. We talked about the Patterson-Gimlin footage. We're going to buy Andrew a suit and show him. He can't recreate it. Or maybe he'll show us we can. Sam says no. Andrew nodded in approval. But to me, it's hard. I mean, it's got the nostalgia. We've talked a lot about it. We've gone to the Sasquatch Museum. We've watched, all these movies, be it even Willow Creek, which might not have been the best, but it was fun. And it was fun to go out and recreate it. And so there's so much tied into it. I don't see anything else but Bigfoot and Sasquatch making number one. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed yet another Culz Top 10. We've actually enjoyed putting these together. It gives us something fun to do, especially when I'm out on injury leave. But at the same time, it helps kind of give you guys more of an insight into what we think, our personalities, our interests. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it as well. If you want to see more of these, this is your very first one, make sure to click this link over here. If you want to see more about what we're doing here at Culz Paranormal, because we do a ton of awesome things, lots of great shows, click the link here. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, what's your favorite cryptid?